It's time for Recipe of the Day. I've told you many times now that the only way I cook sausages anymore is in the air fryer. They just turn out so perfect. They get nice and brown and crispy on the outside and are juicy and tender on the inside. And if your air fryer has one of those baskets that the food is cooking in, the fat from the sausages drains down into the holder below the basket, so the sausages aren't cooking in the fat. It is just wonderful. Now, because I have figured that out, and I do it all the time, I of course had to start figuring out what else I could put into the air fryer with the sausages to turn it into a meal. And that is how this easy air fryer sausage and peppers recipe came about. This is great to pile into hoagies or have on rice. It is that classic sausage and peppers kind of thing going on, but like really hands off. You are going to love this recipe. Okay, first, what kind of sausages are we talking about here? I'm thinking about Italian sausages, so uncooked fresh sausage, either mild or spicy, and I think it works best with the pork ones, but the turkey ones will work too. They're just not quite as juicy, but you can do any of those sausages that are of that sort of thickness and are not like cured or cooked already. So if you have a fresh andouille or a fresh kielbasa or the bratwurst, those are all going to work perfectly. If you have a thinner sausage, like a breakfast sausage, I'm not sure about the flavors, but if you're trying to do it, my only advice would be that the sausages will take less time to cook than the peppers and onions. So you're going to add the peppers and onions first and cook them for a bit and then add those sausages. The veggies in here are just bell peppers and onions, but you can also add sliced mushrooms or sliced celery. I've done it with some halved cherry or grape tomatoes. Also, they taste really good in there, but it does make the mixture a little bit wetter, so just know that. Oh, and talking about the vegetables, whatever vegetables you're using, as I was kind of saying about cooking the sausages in the air fryer on their own, because the fat drains away, the vegetables don't end up really oily when you do this, especially, and I'm going to be saying this when I talk you through the recipe, you put the veggies on top of the sausages at first, so the bulk of the fat is draining out first, and then you mix them together. So it just kind of works perfectly. It may surprise you that there is no cheese in this actual recipe, but you could of course add some. You can either put some on your hoagie buns if you're putting them under the broiler to warm them up before serving, or you can add them to the sausage and pepper mixture right in the air fryer just for the last 2 minutes of cooking. Whatever kind of cheese you want is going to be great in there. Okay, let's dive in. This serves 4 people. You're going to start with 3 bell peppers, any color you like. I like to use at least 2 different colors because I think it's just pretty, but it doesn't matter if they're all the same. And you're going to core them and slice them, not too thin because you don't want them to like dry out, but like not thick either, right? And then also a large onion sliced up. You're putting the peppers and onions into a big bowl with 2 teaspoons of olive oil and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I just keep them like that because I'm using Italian sausages. Often I'm using the hot Italian sausages. There is enough flavor going on, but if you wanted to, you can also add some garlic powder and or some Italian seasoning in there, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of each, and then mix that all up so that your peppers and onions are well coated. Then you put your 4 Italian sausages into the air fryer. Now, there is debate about whether you should poke these with a fork first or not. I always do because I like the extra fat to drain out so that they're not like bursting when you bite into them. Also, I find that sometimes in the air fryer, it gets so hot inside of the sausage that it will like burst open from the pressure of the steam of the liquid inside the sausage. And then you get kind of that ripped outside. Whereas if you poke the holes, you don't get that because you've given the steam area to get out of, right? So that is why I poke them, but you could poke them or not. And then you put the 4 sausages into the air fryer and you top them with your oiled peppers and onions. Like I said, that keeps them out from the oil that's going to be coming out of the peppers underneath because they're on top. Then you are putting the air fryer at 400 degrees Fahrenheit and you're cooking for 8 minutes. Then go in there with some tongs and stir those peppers and onions all around, flip the sausages over, and then you can have the peppers and onions kind of around and between the sausages now, and that exposes the tops of the sausages so that they can brown, and it gives the peppers and onions like more space all around, okay? Now you are cooking those some more just until the sausages are browned and cooked through and the peppers and onions are nice and soft. It'll be about 8 to 10 10 minutes more. If you're adding in the cheese, you stop like 2 minutes before it's done. And what I actually do if I'm adding the cheese is I put the sausages separate from each other and then pile peppers and onions on each one, making it kind of the size and shape of whatever bun or hoagie roll, whatever I'm using, and then put the cheese on top of that. And then once the cheese melts, you're just scooping each of those 4 sectioned sausage, pepper, and onion piles that have cheese on them into your hoagie rolls. So that's what I would do. And then 2 minutes just to get the cheese melting. And in those last couple of minutes is when you would warm up the buns. If they're not already split them. And then I do like to put them under the broiler, open side up, and then they all toast at the same time, but you can do them in the toaster or you could just warm them in the microwave. You can leave them just room temperature, but a warm bun makes any kind of burger, sandwich, hot dog so much better. And then you're just scooping that sausage and pepper mixture onto the buns. So good. I will say you can add other toppings at this point. I don't usually, but you absolutely can. So you could have put some mustard on the bun. That's super tasty. A little bit of sauerkraut on top of the peppers and onions. Not traditional on here, but it kind of gives it that like street food feel. You know what I mean? You could do sliced pickles that also give that same kind of tang that the sauerkraut's going to do. I mentioned cheese, but you could also do queso or a cheese sauce. Always a good thing. Warmed up chili is great on there. Or like sauces like salsa or guacamole are going to be really tasty. Speaking of guacamole, some chunks of avocado is really nice, smooth creaminess, you know. Some diced tomatoes are great on there. You could do cilantro. Oh, and I know that there's onion in there already, but it's like that mellowed out cooked onion. If you like that little like harsh bite of raw onion that you get again from like the hot dog cart when you're having hot dogs on the street, then you can do some chopped raw onion, either white, red, or green onion, and that adds that little bit of bite to there. Oh, so good. These are going to be delicious. I cannot wait for you to try them. I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is May 13th of 2025. If you make these and love them, or if you've made any of the recipes from this podcast and have loved them, go and leave a comment and a 5-star rating. The comments help me and others know what you've made and what you've done, what you've liked, and then that 5-star rating helps bring more people to my website, more people to the podcast, because they see those stars on Google when they're searching for recipes. You know what I mean? Okay, I'd really appreciate it if you've done it. If you've already done it, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. I am Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.